Hi, welcome back to one of my cooking videos. Hope you enjoyed the last one. So, what are we doing this week? Well, I've got another glut of runner beans in the garden, so I thought, what else can you do with runner beans apart from make that curry dish? Can you make a runner bean chutney, I thought? Never heard of it. Went online, sure enough you can do a runner bean chutney. You can actually buy it, it's about £3.80 a jar, I found on one side. But anyway, so I've got this glut of runner beans. I'm going to try and do my own version of runner bean chutney. I'm going to make it a nice spicy one as well. I've made various chutneys and jams before. I've actually got 3 jars of rhubarb ginger jam in the cupboard. I've got a big jar of pickled schloss I've done last week. But I thought I'd show you how I'm going to do these runner bean chutney. See how it comes out like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the last video. Please do like, subscribe, thumbs up. Do appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Enough with this whole waffling. Let's see what's over here. Ingredients we're going to use for this runner bean chutney. Right, so for this spicy runner bean chutney, what I'm going to be using, I've got 500 grams here of fresh from the garden runner beans. I just picked a little bit about an hour ago. Now the recipes I've seen have been for about like a kilo or more of runner beans. So I've scaled it down a bit and hope I've got this right. So anyway, 500 grams of fresh runner beans there. I've got 1 very large onion which I've diced and chopped up very finely. 100 grams of sugar. I'm using white sugar. You can use whatever sugar you want. 300 ml of vinegar. Now you can use a malt vinegar, you can use any type of vinegar. I'm using a white vinegar. I don't want it to go to sort of dark brown, so I'm using a white vinegar. 5% acidity. Now you want that high acid content really for anything like chutneys or pickling, but anyway I'm using a white vinegar. Here what we're using, going to spice this up, I'm going to use 1 tablespoonful of a corn flour there. Now I've got about 3 tablespoonfuls of tomato, sort of garlic puree which I had left in the fridge. I'm going to be using that. A tablespoonful of turmeric, about a tablespoonful of salt, and I'm using half a teaspoonful of a medium curry powder, half a teaspoonful there of a garam masala, and I'm using 1 teaspoon or a quarter of a teaspoon there of a red Kashmiri chili powder, which is quite hot, so I'm hoping just a quarter of a teaspoon with the curry powder. Just going to spice this up nice. So that's basically the ingredients. So let's get on with the first part of this runner bean spicy chutney. The first thing we need to do is just string the runner beans. Some people call these string beans. Basically string them. I'm going to cut these diagonally about 1/4 inch slices, just like so. I suppose you can cut them whichever way you want, but I'm doing them in diagonal slices. So I'm going to carry on and finish the rest of these off. There we go, runner beans all cut up at an angle, like about 1/4 inch pieces, just like that. So not too big. So what we now need to do, we now need to blanch these. So put these in hot water, boiling water for about 3 minutes. Remove them straight in cold water for another 2 to 3 minutes, then drain them off. So I'm not going to show you putting them in water. I'm sure you don't want to see me putting these in hot water, but that's the next stage. And then once they're ready, we're going to go on to the main stage of making this chutney. Right, so I've put the oven on. I've put all my jars in the oven to sterilise them. That's on gas mark 1, about 15 minutes, about 140 degrees. So make sure you sterilise your jars. I've got about 4 different sized jars in there. I'm not sure which one we're going to be able to use. Now all we need to do at this stage is basically just put the vinegar in the pan. I'm just going to bring it up to heat a little bit. And it's just a matter really of just putting the onions in with that vinegar. Bring it up to a simmer, and then just need to let this simmer for 15 minutes. So that's the first stage with a bit of skin there. So let them simmer. Start about 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it about 10 minutes first of all. So we're going to let that simmer in the vinegar for about 10 minutes. You might want to open the windows and put your extractor fan on, because once that vinegar starts heating up and getting warm, it's going to stink the place out. Now it's going to come back when we're ready for the next stage. Right, so once the vinegar, I'm going to simmer it away for 10 minutes. basically just going to put in all our spices first of all. The garlic, turmeric, garam masala, curry powder and red chilli powder. Give that a stir around, make sure that's all fully mixed in there. You see it's going to a sort of yellowish colour. If you use malt vinegar or anything like a dark vinegar, it's going to make it darker, which I didn't want a really dark colour. So that goes in. So now, then you put in your beans, which you've blanched. Put them in there. Mix that all in. And now we're just going to put a lid on that when that's all mixed in and just let that simmer away for 15 minutes. I'll let that simmer away for 15 minutes now. And of course I forgot to add the sugar. So add the sugar in there as well. Stir all that in. Again, there we go. And let that simmer for 15 minutes now. As I said, 15 minutes on the simmer there, so let's just get a little bit, just to make sure the beans are cooked nicely, not them too soft. Well, it's certainly got a tang to it, and that is nice actually. Got a bit of a tang. A little bit on the firm side, so I'll leave that simmer for another 5 minutes and then we'll turn back again. Right, so I've just checked the footage. I left it for another 5 minutes. It's not recorded this, for some reason the camera froze, I don't know why. So left it for another 5 minutes, took the lid off, took some of the vinegar juice out, mixed that with the corn flour and then mixed it into the mixture until it's thickened up. Now it's just thickened up nicely. What we need to do now is put this in the jars. I'm going to get the sterilised jars out of the oven. That's my sterilised jars. I think it's going to fit in this big one, so let's put these other two and these other three over there. They are a bit hot still. And of course, never put any hot liquid into cold glass, which is why we need to sterilise, make sure they're hot. So this is now going to go into there. It's going to fit into this one. There we go. Not too much. I'm going to put it in this other smaller jar, so just going to swap these over and put it in the other, this jar here, which I think is all going to fit better in that one. There we go, let's fit it in that jar much better actually. There's only just a sort of smidgen left. There's just a little tiny bit left there. So I'm going to give it a try. Little spoon there, there we go. Give it a try. Bit hot. Oh, it needs to cool down a bit, it's very, very hot. Lovely tang to it. I've got sweetness to it. Got a kick coming through now. And there's just the right amount of spice in this. Nice bit of heat from that red chilli powder. You can taste the curry powder and the garam masala. That is a nice spicy runner bean chutney. Here we go, a little bit more. And then when that's matured, that is going to be very nice actually. Now what I tend to do, to seal it off, make it airtight, I actually get a cling film and I double fold, and I paste the cling film over the top before I put the lid on. That gives it an extra tight seal on there. So I'm going to do that now. It's going to be just a little bit more in there, I think. We don't want to waste any of this. Perfect, that's perfect, there we go. Now I normally tend to use a knife when I'm doing pickles. Now I'm due any time now. I do a nice fruit Christmas chutney, which is made out of all dried fruits. It originally came out of the Delia Smith Christmas book, but I've actually sort of jizzed it around a bit and then jazzed it up and sort of put my own thing on it. And I normally make a lot of those around about September time, August, September, and leave it maturing for about 4 months. I've actually made some in the past. I've had so much, I've actually eaten it 18 months later, and the longer you leave it, the more it matures. There's only many pickles, so seal this one up. I'll show you what I mean by the seal I actually use. Get a bit of cling film out. And to me, it just gives it that bit of extra protection, making it sure it's very, very airtight. So, a bit of cling film. So I fold over and then fold over, and then so we've got 4 layers there. Then I put that on top, and then I just put the lid on, like so. Put that on nice and tight. Now that's going to go in the cupboard now in the cool for about 4 to 6 weeks before I try it again, and that give it time to mature. I think this one, once you've opened it, lasts about 3 months if you put it in the fridge. So there we go. I mean, that is looking very nice actually. Yeah, well pleased with that. So nice and tangy, nice and got a kick to it. There we go, one spicy runner bean chutney. Here we go, one runner bean chutney. There's a bit more of it on the plate. It looks lovely yellowy colour, not too dark, nice colour on that there. Let's just try this little bit again. Hey, this is now I've had a sort of mouthful, it has got a kick to it. Very, very nice hot kick. Runner beans are just right, not too sort of firm. Just a bit of bite to them. But yeah, that's definitely got a kick now. Okay. So give that 4 or 6 weeks to mature. I think that's going to be very, very nice. So well pleased with that one. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Please do like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, do appreciate it. I'll look out for my next one. So look after yourselves, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching. Catch you again in the next video. Take care. Bye.